It is 4:01, and we're calling to order the meeting of February 12th of the Historic Preservation Commission. I want to acknowledge the staff that is present. Thank you from the city. Can I trouble you, Spencer, to help me with a roll call?
No trouble at all.
Thank you.
Commissioner Collum,
Here.
Commissioner O'Neill,
Here.
Chair Rodriguez,
Here.
Commissioner Rath,
Here.
Commissioner Pizell,
Here.
and Commissioner Smith-Gravello.
Here.
Vice Chair Barlow is currently absent. Staff present today are Planning Manager Hill, Principal Planner Roveri, and myself, Recording Secretary Argenbright. Information on participating in this meeting and providing public comment, including remotely by Zoom or telephone, is on this meeting's agenda, which is online at monterey.gov/agendas. Remote commenters will be muted until it is their turn to speak, and a timer will be shown on the screen. If you are connected on Zoom, the timer is accurate. In the chamber, we recommend keeping phones and devices muted to prevent audio interference with the meeting. Thank you for participating in your city government.
Thank you very much for those two things. We're going to move into the consent agenda. We have the approval of minutes, which should be in your packet. I'll entertain a motion to see if anybody wants to move to approve.
I'll move to approve.
We need to check
All right.
for public comments first.
Oh, sorry. See. I'll open it up to public comments to discuss issues that are not on the agenda.
No, we have to open it up
minutes.
for public comment for the consent agenda.
Dear Lord. Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Okay, today I rushed, no excuse, just an explanation. I'm getting in commissioner mode. All right. Let's do that again. We're going to open it up for comments on issues that relate to the consent agenda. Is there anybody online, Spencer, that would want to comment on any of the consent items?
There are currently no attendees online.
I don't see any hands raised or any eye contact. Well, I do, but not that they, okay, perfect. All right, so we're going to close public comment on the consent agenda. We're moving now to the approval of minutes. Did everybody have an opportunity to look at the minutes? Yes. Previously, Commissioner Collum made a motion to approve the minutes.
January minutes. Yeah.
All right. Any comments from the commissioners?
Do we have a second?
Do you have
Second.
second, Commissioner O'Neill? All right. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Any abstentions? All right. So unanimously passed. This is the end of the consent agenda. Now we're going to move on to general public comments. Spencer, can I trouble you to tell me if there's anybody online that wants to do a general public comment?
There are currently no attendees online. I will note that information on how to participate remotely or by Zoom or telephone is found at monterey.gov/agendas. And if you are joining by telephone, dial *9 to raise your hand and *6 to unmute. And with that said, there are still no attendees currently online.
Thank you. Anybody present that would like to make a general public comment on any item? No? All right. So we are going to move to the public hearing portion, which is item number 3, to consider 800 Cannery Row application HP 250268 to adopt a historic preservation report for Pacific Biological Laboratories. I'm assuming we have a presentation from staff.
Yes, thank you, Chair. My name is Fernanda Roveri, Principal Planner for the City of Monterey. And before you today is a historic preservation report for the Pacific Biological Laboratories at 800 Cannery Row. Staff's recommendation is that the Historic Preservation Commission adopt the Historic Preservation Report in your agenda packet. So the city presently owns the site of the Pacific Biological Laboratories. And the PBL is an H1 zone city historic landmark and is also listed in the National Register of Historic Places. It's primarily significant as the home and workplace of marine biologist Ed Ricketts and his friendship with John Steinbeck, and with the PBL Club and the development of the Monterey Jazz Festival. This is a photo of the PBL as it currently is. So the city presently owns the site. And I'm going to give a little background on our efforts to preserve it. In 2010, the city had Architectural Resources Group prepare a historic preservation report, which the HPC adopted to address termite, sun, and water damage and recommend repair options. Subsequently, a $30,000 grant from the Community Foundation for Monterey County Dowd and Stanton Fund paid for an exterior interpretation plan and the restoration of the biological storage tanks pictured here. So these have been repaired since that photo. In 2019, the city once again retained ARG to prepare an accessibility study for PBL and provide recommendations to bring the building into compliance with applicable code. The goal is to provide an accessible path of travel throughout the building and site. As you can see, stairs can pose an access barrier to some people. There are stairs at the front and back of the building. In 2025, the city requested that ARG update the accessibility study to explore accessibility improvement options using the coastal public path on the property's south side, which was precluded from consideration in 2019. The path is pictured here. And if you face the property from Cannery Row, the path is on the right side of the building. So instead of having to climb stairs to enter the building, this path would allow access from Cannery Row to the rear yard. And then through a lift, it would provide access into the building. So if you follow my cursor, if you're a person on Cannery Row, you could access this path of travel toward the back. There would be a new entrance through the existing fence. Then you could enter the platform lift, which would take you up or down to wherever you want to go on the site. In January of 2026, to meet historic preservation report requirements, ARG prepared a high-level memo that explains how accessibility option A complies with the key concepts of rehabilitation. A full standard compliance analysis will be prepared once we have detailed drawings. So right now, the accessibility study has conceptual drawings, but once we have detailed drawings, then ARG would be able to prepare a thorough standards compliance analysis. So the project before you today is the Historic Preservation Report, which is attached as Exhibit A to the resolution in your agenda packet. It contains the original report from 2010, which provides a history of significant events and people connected to the resource, the accessibility study from 2019, the update from 2025, and the limited standards compliance memo from last month. So today, the Historic Preservation Commission's job is to ensure that the Historic Preservation Report meets content requirements listed in the city code. HPC adoption of a Historic Preservation Report is required prior to alteration of an H1 historic resource. And the city anticipates funding from the Western Flyer Foundation for the design and construction of the accessibility upgrades. So the report adoption is required prior to applying for construction or for a historic permit of these upgrades. So the report must be consistent with the following requirements. Which of the 4 Secretary of the Interior standards for treatment of historic properties is being proposed for the resource? The answer is rehabilitation, because it includes an opportunity to make possible an efficient contemporary use through alterations and additions. It would allow the necessary upgrades to provide an accessible path of travel to both levels of the building and the rear yard, which would support the contemporary use of the site as a museum and educational space, as you can see here. This is one of the tours that is available through the library. The letter B, the second requirement, is that the report must contain a written description of historic events connected with the resource. The report provides a written description of the simple vernacular building, notable as the home and workplace of marine biologist Ed Ricketts and his friendship with author Steinbeck, and for association with the PBL Club and the development of the Monterey Jazz Festival. These photos show Ricketts' use of the building for sleeping, living, and working. The third requirement is that the report must contain the historic context and interpretive period of the resource. PBL was founded and operated by Ricketts from 1923 through the onset of World War II. The current building was constructed in 1937 after a fire destroyed the original lab. While operating the lab, Ricketts was known for his scholarship on Pacific Coast marine biology. The lab and Ricketts were immortalized as Doc's Lab in Steinbeck's Cannery Row book. And this and more history is contained in the Historic Preservation Report. The fourth requirement is that the report contain an architectural history of the resource. The report includes a detailed description of the design, construction, evolution, and significance of the building and site. It provides a list of character-defining features that range from exterior building form and materials to interior finishes and lab artifacts. It includes photos from the 1930s, 40s, and 50s, and photos taken by ARG between 2010 and 2025. It also includes a 1944 Ricketts drawing of the second story of his lab. These are photos of the jars where he kept his specimens, the interior of his garage, I believe, and the shelving. And then on the right side is a photo of the garage door that was modified. It was enclosed partly to just allow a door, a regular door. But you can see the outline of the original garage door. This is the view from the rear. So the last requirement is that the report contain a program for preservation of the resource, including a statement of how the proposed program meets the standards. While the 2010 report makes repair and remediation recommendations, the 2019 and 2025 reports recommend creating an accessible path of travel to make possible the contemporary use of the building and site as a museum open for tours and educational events. The two accessibility options, A and B, utilize a new platform lift, new exterior stairs, and ramps, but their placement differs. ARG prepared a high-level memo focusing on option A and how it fits into the standards for rehabilitation. If option B is chosen instead, the Historic Preservation Report would need to be amended to include a standards compliance analysis for that option. If there's a change in scope of work, the report would also have to be amended. And this just shows the existing conditions of the rear and how the ground is not level. So that would require to be upgraded as well. With that, staff recommends that the Historic Preservation Commission adopt the Historic Preservation Report as presented in the agenda packet. I'm available for questions, and our Library and Museums Director is also here for questions.
All right, thank you, Fernanda. I'm going to open it up for questions from the commission. Anybody?
I have a question.
Please.
We're just approving the report. We're not deciding on option A or B. That would be somebody else, or is that correct?
Well, today you would just be approving the report because it's required prior to approval of a historic permit. So this would come back to you once an option and once we have finalized drawings, they would come back to you for approval.
Are we able to make any changes or suggestions to the format of the report? Because I found some of the drawings confusing. They address east and west sides of the building, but they're not on the schematic. So then you're looking at the little tiny north side, trying to decide. And there was also a paragraph that had some misspelled words.
Yes, you can make those edits and we can include them as a condition to edit prior to signing the resolution.
Okay.
Yeah.
You want me to?
Might I suggest you, before motions, because we're also
Okay.
going to provide an opportunity for people to speak, just write it down. So if you want to make a motion subject to
Okay.
what conditions? Yes.
I just have two clarifications. Looking at this, and it doesn't have a number on the drawing, but you used it up there and it's one of the early photographs in the packet. It shows just one of the set of cement tubs.
Mm.
We're conserving both sets of cement tubs. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, so it was just a photo that didn't include that, just to focus on other things. The other is on Exhibit A, page 31. And I'm just not sure I understand this completely. So it's the executive construction cost summary. I know that may be out of our purview, but I would like to understand it. And in the fourth column, it says present value. So in option A, the present value is 1,847,839. But option B, which of course has several different features, the present value is different. All of a sudden, it's 2,015,000, and 78,000. I don't know why the present value would change.
Okay, I believe that the value was calculated by multiplying the square feet by the cost of construction, cost per square foot of construction. And the costs are different between options A and B.
So why does it say present value then, if it's talking about the construction costs? I'm thinking the present value should be the same, shouldn't it? Present value?
I'm not sure, but
I'll jump in there.
okay.
Can you refer which page you're
Yes.
talking?
Page 31.
It's
Page-
31 of the PDF.
Okay.
Mhm. Exhibit A,
Executive construction. cost.
the executive
Yeah.
construction
So,
cost summary.
When it's looking at the present value, it is looking, if you can, I'm not sure on the page on this because I have the document. What they are looking at on the full under Exhibit A is that is the total construction cost. And so the present value means as of 2025, as in present, not the value of the property. The present value is how much would that construction cost for that work of option A cost. Option A would the ARG and their consulting firm KPJ Consulting said $1.847 million to construct option A, and option B would be 2.015.
So it's just a terminology.
It's the
present-
terminology, and part of that is if you look at option B, the reason for the change, option B includes more modifications to the actual building, where an option A is just on the exterior of the facility.
Well, it makes sense when you say it that way. It's just, when I read it, present value, so what would be another way to, another term there that could make it clear?
Well, I would say, like, if you look at that, it just says total construction cost.
Yeah, and that would. that
That's
would be
total
helpful.
construction cost, which is
Increase in
related on another page
So it
on the
should say
document.
that rather than present value.
Well, so I think if we wait 6 months, that present value of the cost is not going to be that anymore. If there's tariffs or something happens in China and the steel goes up or down. So they're presenting present value of the cost now. but
Mhm.
when they come back with a permit, it might be different.
And
Yes, that I understand that too.
Yeah.
It's just the term present value made me think of the
Of
value
the-
at present.
so
And so that it was a confusing term for me.
and that's where it's the consulting firm's terminology on that, what
Mhm.
they sent, because you'll say if I'm on the right page on here, there, it says program, right? So their terminology is they say program, option A, option B, square footage, dollars per square foot, present value, and ESC, and that's not escape. I think that's escalation of March 2027. So they're basically saying if it escalates into the following year, that's where it goes from 1,847,839 to the estimated 2,249,166, or $2,015,078 to $2,452,728. So they did at that time when they did their
Mhm.
presentation, it was a 2-year escalation.
The way you've explained it, I understand it now.
Yeah.
It's just the term at the top was confusing to
Um,
me. Thank you.
And you're Brian Edwards, Library and Museums
I'm-
Director, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. Brian Edwards, Library and Museums Director for City of Monterey.
Thank you very much. Any other questions?
I do.
Yes.
So the stairs that you're replacing in the back, were those original Ricketts era stairs?
They are not. So if you're on the back of the building, you could see the remnants of the line of the stairs that actually run along the side of the building. The stairs actually used to run from the back of the building from where the garage is, where the garage was, the opening there, directly on the building straight up. And so I believe those were done in I don't have the direct number, but I believe they were done in the 1990s, probably by the city when we took over.
Okay.
And so they
They're
are
not historic.
they're not historic. The front stairs are, the design is mostly historic.
Also, was there any thoughts or consideration given to handicap access through the garage door in the front?
Yeah, so that was in the 2019 study. If you were to look at the ratio of rate, you would go from the garage at the front to all the way to the end of the building in the back.
Hmm.
That's the slope. And what you would have to do is you would have to knock out a portion of the living room, which was
Mhm.
Ricketts' bedroom. So that's the living room where Ricketts and Steinbeck used to hang out. So to basically, because how steep that is and the height, they wanted to either do a false door in the front and take out a piece of the front living room, which is where we do our interpretation and our talks,
Mhm.
or raise the garage as well and go in through that. But then you would have to do a walkway all the way from the back to the front. And so that's why I requested a redo of the study, the 2025, to look through the easement on the back, because I don't want to break into the building, which is on the national, records.
Yes.
I read that part and I really agree with it. I think it's nice to have the front undisturbed because it sets the stage for the building and it shows it pretty much the way it was. And then I've always liked the information that was along the side that would help the casual tourist, just thinking they're walking out to the water, to actually learn a little bit about what they were walking alongside. And so I think there is room there to provide the access through an elevator, a wheelchair style kind of, I don't know, it's like a square shaped
Mhm.
open elevator. I think that's a better place to put it because it doesn't detract from the front. I like the plan.
Right. Any other questions? I know you answered some of our questions, but would you like to add anything as a formal presentation?
Sure. First off, I want to thank Fernanda for her work on this. I appreciate you for working on that. And I will just say, yeah, so I'm Brian Edwards, Library and Museums Director, City of Monterey. We operate Pacific Biological Laboratories. We do free tours once a month right now. People can register. We're actually doing them this Saturday. People book online through the library website. And then we also do open hours in the afternoon after we do 2 free tours. But people also do book private tours with us as well. So
Mhm.
private group tours book through the library and museums. And we do charge for those for private groups. And we have docents that come in and Steinbeck scholars, Ricketts scholars, all of this. And just to say that this site really it's in our our city guidelines regarding the design guidelines for Cannery Row as a district. It's one of the original sites right there. So to keep that front facade as original as possible is a highlight for me, to really keep that as intact as possible, but still provide accessible access. And so with that, when you go in, that was when I looked at going through the coastal easement, and I've talked about this with our planning team. I appreciate Levi and Kim Cole and Lori Lynn Williamson from our building staff to talk about what are the options on here. Because when we go out there right now, if you're in that back of the building and you lock yourself out of the doors, there is no exit. There's no exit going out there. If you go locked out there, there is no exit to go back on the coastal easement. So this also provides that emergency access for people as we do that, to come in and have that. And also just for historic interpretation from our museum side, because if you've been on the tour, you will come inside the building and it's left as it is from the men's club era. And so when you come in through the front door, you start off and people say, what's going on? This doesn't look like Ricketts building, because you're starting off with what the men's club left it as. And so you're starting off and you start a tour and you say, by the way, the men's club were here later after Ricketts died. It's not the best way to start the tour. If you start the tour off the back, you're starting it off back with the concrete tanks. You're starting it off with the two Vicente Rodriguez, who started off, they built some of the original tanks, and the Ricketts came in and collecting. You can start with the lab. And so for an interpretation side, we could start on the back with interpretation of the lab, of the space, then walk into the building, and then you can start walking and talking about the men's club that happened after Ricketts passed. And for us, it's a more logical starting point to start there, then go inside, start talking about the changeover of that, and then walk into the front room, which was, important for the men's club era, important for the Ricketts era. And so for us, we're telling multiple stories. And that's why it's important for us to keep this building as intact as possible, because the men's club had the building longer than Ricketts, and they have their own group that have an interest in it and are the Ricketts fans. So that's just to say that we think this is a better way to do that. And then also the concrete in the back, or whether that's a decking or concrete or something on the back, the concrete is buckled, it's shifted. There's holes in the back where at certain points there was a canopy that was done in the back over there over the tanks. That's long been removed. So there's still holes in the concrete, which is not safe for walking. So this is where, just to say that I think just as a concept, we're looking at this as a concept. And as Fernanda put in there, we're looking at potential funding for coming back with designs. What would this be? Coming back to HPC to look forward before we start any actual work with this. But yeah.
All right. Thank you. Yes.
I'm sorry to ask another question. This is just a curiosity. I've been to several tours, even one where his granddaughters came and there was, they made the milkshakes and it was a lot of fun. And I've seen it over time. And this just sort of stood out to me today. You see this kind of a board that could be, maybe they put flower pots on it, or maybe it was shelter in the rain if he was bringing back specimens. Or I'm just wondering what this little wood there was actually used for.
Yeah, so you'll see that in some of the photos towards the back. Those were flower pots.
They were flower pots.
Yeah, and I will say also, this is the second building, and as the Fernanda showed the photo of the adobe structure caught on fire because
Yes.
the next door canning business was abandoned, and PG&E gave him too much power, and it burnt down the lab, which was the adobe building. The Rodriguez had the two Rodriguez, they weren't brothers, but two Rodriguez that owned a La Esperanza Canning, had La Esperanza Canning at 740 Ocean View before it became Cannery Row. That site burned down, and that's why John Steinbeck became 50% silent partner, because he invested the money and Ricketts sold the lot next door, which became 810 Cannery Row, which is now 810, and the Seattle t-shirt shop and all that. So their friends came and built that building afterwards. That's why it looks different. But that would have been, flower pots. And I will say, and also as we looked at this, there are other aspects of this from that historic report from 2010, things like the windows that still need to be done. There are other aspects of this building that still need to be addressed on here. Some of it has been addressed, a little of it, but the stairs, the accessibility is really my main concern at this point.
And just another flower pot question. So if it's flower pots, and I can see the plants, you're right, but why doesn't it go to all the windows, or was that window added later? I mean, if you were building flower pots, wouldn't you go make it start and end through the length of the windows?
I don't think you want to hit your head as you're walking up the stairs.
That was it. It was interfering with the stairs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, thanks.
Mhm.
That's exactly it. I
Uh,
didn't think about that.
All right, thank you. Any other questions? Yes.
So, the elevator, you would enter the elevator from the walkway. If you're not handicapped, is there a way, do you have to use the elevator? Is there another, there's so many schematics and,
I think they're building stairs on the other side, right? I think I saw it somewhere. I think he's looking for the picture.
Yeah. Yeah. So from what it was initially was kind of a, at least these are very conceptual.
okay,
Yeah.
The conceptual dynamics of it were to come in off of a landing.
Uh-huh.
You come in off of there and you come into a landing, and from that landing, you either go into the lift, which goes up or down, or you go up or down off of a set of stairs. So it'd be like you first walk in off of a landing to get in there.
either. I hope suggesting to the city that we have a field trip there. We were able to go yesterday and look at it, and it really, it's a mess.
Mhm.
But it took, the photos don't do it justice as far as what needs to happen, where
Mhm.
the tripping hazards are, and what needs to be done. So I would encourage the city to do that.
I can imagine a lot of city attorneys kind of sweating every time somebody walks back
Was
there.
looking at it, and,
Yeah.
oh my God. Liability.
Mhm.
I didn't say that.
Yes.
Can I just make a comment? I really like the idea of starting from the rear of the building, Brian, because my first tour years ago was, going up the front stairs, and I came away, a member was still there of the club. So he gave the tour, and that's what really stayed with me, was with the club, the bar and everything. And I was just wondering, when people leave, will they go down the front stairs, or they have the option of going back, I guess, the other way? What's going to happen with the front stairs and people?
I think we'll have to get to that point to decide like where it'd be, because I feel like the front stairs are going to need some restoration work as well when we come back with a fully fleshed out plan, because it could be to go through the front, like exit the, come in through the back, exit through the front. Because what I will say is, like, we do tours from some of the local high school, not even just local high schools. We do high schools from like Santa Clara, and they'll bring in 100, 120 people, but we can't do them all at the same time. So we do groups, right? And we rotate these groups in and out. And you have, when you're rotating groups, you have to think of your tours of like how they go in and out. And if the stairs up front were restored, I think it would be safe to go through, through the front. But if only the back were done, we would want to think of that too. Like, what's the best way? Because we still, because it's such a treasure and such a historic building, we don't want to have tours every single day, and we don't want to overutilize that building, because it's just, I don't think it can handle the stress of so much use in that building.
Thank you.
All right. Yes.
I just, one other thing I noticed, it's not important in a big way, but the rear porch and staircase were added in 55. Is that correct? At least I'm talking about Exhibit A, page 93. So I'm imagining, I guess, that Harlan Watkins was renting the building from Ye, probably for storage or for, I don't know if he lived there, what it was. And then just a year before he actually purchased the building, he added, or someone added, the rear porch and staircase. So that's not, it's not connected actually to Ricketts. Maybe there was another rear porch and staircase that became unusable and they added a better one, or it seems like a good idea to have a rear landing and a stairs to go down. So I'm just wondering why that seems to be, you know, an addition to it, why it wasn't there. How did he get down to the specimen cases? I guess he'd have to go
So,
around.
so I can say, so prior, if you've been in there and if you've used the restroom, if you've even been in the restroom, this what they call the Sophia Loren room, where they have the Sophia Loren painting in the restroom. The access to that used to be through the kitchen. The
Oh,
restroom and the shower he went through the kitchen into, so the plumbing for that was there, and that was a wall on the back. And so it wasn't, you didn't go on the outside of the building to go, right now you go on the outside of the building to go into the restroom. Used to be, you used to go straight into the house to go through there. So the rear stairs just went to stairs, like went to the back door and just went straight down
okay.
and went straight down to a staircase on there. They built the landing because they rebuilt the kitchen and they built like a faux wall that's in there. There's like, you can knock on it. It's like kind of vinyl wood siding on the inside of the back of the kitchen that goes in there to that restroom, but you have to access right now through the back porch. And that's why option B was on there, which would be to actually demolish some of the kitchen area or to push out that. And I feel like any kind of interior work would drastically increase the price and possibly the damage to that building. So the less that we do on that side. So I believe that the porch was redone at a later time, but looking at it, that's where I think that we know in the 55, the porch was added. We know that the stairs were added at the time, but I believe when we took over in 93, when the city purchased it and started doing tours, I believe that's when we started doing the restoration of that staircase in the back.
That makes sense that there was just a door to go out and then just stairs, you know, and the other was an improvement, I'm sure, when they did it in 55. Well, I think the report is really very detailed and really nice. It's nice for all of us to read it and have a good history of the building. So thanks to the office and to the other people over time that have worked on this. I think it's great.
All right, any other questions? All right, we need to open it for public comment. Spencer, can you tell me if there's anybody online?
There are currently no attendees online.
All right, anybody present that would like to make a comment? Nope. All righty, so now I know we mixed questions and comments, but one last time, any commissioner questions? Any commissioner comments? No? Only thing I would say is I'm glad you're doing the work. I'm glad that you're providing accessibility to all of our residents. The people with disabilities can also access that amazing building. I also know the Gentlemen's Club portion of it, and I wish I had a cubby with my preferred alcohol. So thank you very much for doing it, and I hope you get from the 30 to the 2 million that you need. Good luck.
And do we need to make a motion
Yes, I think we're ready to.
to move?
All right. So,
Mm.
sorry, you were going to make a motion subject to some changes.
Some quibbles.
Okay.
So I'd like to see better definitions of the terms, and in that vein, the schematics.
May I suggest, Commissioner O'Neill, perhaps you would like to make a motion and then
Okay.
include your
Okay.
changes in that motion, and then we'll see if that gets seconded.
Okay, so I move that we accept the historic preservation report for the Pacific Biological Laboratories with.
I can
No,
second.
no,
Okay, I've got to
yeah.
do the quibbles.
Yeah.
I thought we would do
So
the second.
define the terms that they use, and ESC was one that I wrote down. And on the schematics, do a better job of what east and west is, because it's very confusing on Cannery Road because of the way it goes around. And on page 39 of Exhibit A,
Of the packet or of the
no, it's 65 of the packet.
39 of the report?
Yeah, is a paragraph that says at the top of stair fights, handrails shall
Mhm.
extend horizontally. And they use the term fight all the way through, and I believe they mean flight. Um, So I don't know how it got in there 3 or 4 times incorrectly, but that should.
All right, so we have the motions subject to those suggested changes. Any second? All right. We have a second.
Yes, I second it. I think
All right.
It's better to have
All right.
fight than fight.
I'll open it up for, no, I'm not going to open it up for anything. All right. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Any abstentions? All right. Adopted. Thank you. If anybody didn't believe that the commission reads carefully every report, they can they can look at the recording of today.
Is fight some special term
Uh,
that I'm not, so I Googled it and no, fight means fisticuff. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you. Now, we're going to move on to planning update if there are any.
Sure. Thank you, Chair.
Mhm.
So as noted in the report, just real quick, we do have some tentative items tracking for our March 12th HPC meeting. So we'll planning on bringing forward the CLG annual report. As you know, we are a certified local government, City of Monterey, and that's due to the qualifications of this commission. So we'll be bringing that report forward in March. Also noted in the update is some upcoming historical and cultural events. As our Brian mentioned earlier, the Pacific Biological Lab is hosting tours. We have most notably February 14th tour available. And then, of course, we have the 21st annual chocolate and wine fundraiser that's happening on February 21st.
Is that for the library?
Yeah.
Yes, right? All right. I know commissioners always have.
They
things
always have additional events.
going
We
on. Any
turn it over.
Monterey History and Art is having it's a sold out dinner on Saturday night, Valentine's Day. They're going to bring back the Italian restaurant that was there in the 30s at Casa Serrano. And so we Los Amigos group are doing the food, the cooking, the serving, the cleanup, setup. So we're trying to get more money for the maintenance of Casa Serrano, basically.
All right. Any other events, announcements? No? All right. If that's it, we will adjourn the Historic Preservation Commission meeting at 4:44 p.m. Thank you.